Transmitter device activated. Coordinates set for Earth 2.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Earth 2 podcast, your weekly exploration of the DC Comics multiverse and the legacy of their Golden Age characters through the Silver and the Bronze Ages of comics. I'm Peter Watson, and I'm great!
And I'm David Steele, and I'm really glad that we had the idea to do this episode because it's a fun bit of fun and a bit spontaneous in a way, and not really how we actually originally anticipated the whole Atlas coverage sort of thing going, but stuff happens. Listeners, as promised this week, it's another DC Legacy character episode, and we're discussing the legacy of some of the various DC Comics characters to have been called Tiger Man. This has been inspired, obviously, retroactively by the Atlas Seaboard superhero Tiger Man, aka Dr. Lancaster Hill, but we talked enough about him last week. So we've done a few stories for you today. Format of this episode has ebbed and flowed and changed and stuff, and
right down to the last minute.
Yes, there have been compromises, but, stuff happens, it's fine, it's all good, and can't wait for you to see the publicity photo for today's episode. You'll have seen it by now by the time you're listening. Anyway, so the first story we're covering today comes from issue 54 of Star Spangled Comics, published on the 4th of January 1946. Peter's going to give you the barest of cover details.
The cover features The Guardian and the Newsboy Legion, and that's all I'm going to tell you.
Excellent, that's all we need to know. Which story we're doing from that issue of Star Spangled? Let's have a dramatic pause before we tell you. It's the story featuring Robot Man.
Woohoo!
Robot Man has appeared on the show before, hasn't he?
He has, as has the second Robot Man.
That's right, because it was in our Road to the Doom Patrol episode. I remember now. That was a good episode.
It's a great episode, yeah.
So, we shall just dive straight in then. We have an establishing, exciting opening splash panel, which has a massive Robot Man logo at the top. The caption reads,
"A shiver runs up and down a city's spine, for a strange creature, half man, half beast, is on the loose, prowling the streets for prey. But when danger threatens, Robot Man and Robot Dog are on the alert, ready and willing to stick their metal necks out in order to capture
the Tiger Man." With a very large establishing image, which just looks so sort of like rebuilding NYC type thing that it hurts. There's a couple of big iron girders in the background. There's lots of red brickwork. There's lots of people standing around as we see Robot Man punching a very muscular feline form. He has claws in his hands and talons in his toes. He's covered in beautiful bronze fur and has a vicious looking evil tiger face. As Robot Man punches him in the chops, Robot Dog, making his Earth 2 podcast debut, grabs at the Tiger Man's tail. How exciting. A further caption.
Robot Man and Robot Dog, in their usual disguises, stroll along the city streets presently.
Yes, and we see Robot Man in his Paul Dennis human outfit, mask and all that, and Robbie looking like a little sort of white-haired terrier, actually, which is pretty cool. Foreground of the panel, well, very helpfully, Robot Man starts us off by telling us what we can see.
Look at that dog chasing that cat.
Ho-hum. Very boring. Cats are so inferior. And we see, like, very cartoon style, with a bow wow and a yip, that there's a small brown dog chasing a small black cat. In the next panel, Robbie squares up to this little brown dog saying, "Haven't you anything better to do than chase that cat, chum?" And the other dog is alarmed and jumps several feet into the air and produces no less than 4 large red question marks. In the first panel of page 2, Robbie says, "Gosh, Paul, he seems surprised to find a dog who can talk English."
What makes you think dogs are so superior to cats, Robbie?
Paul points at the headline of today's copy of the Daily Star, saying,
"Do you consider yourself superior to this cat, for instance? He's just clawed another victim."
We see the headline reads, "Tiger Man strikes again as fear-paralysed victims stand helpless." Gosh, Robbie says, "That terrible thing! Gulp!" We see Robbie sort of sitting up like a good boy and Paul with a paper under his arm. They're both sort of in silhouette under a street lamp as Paul says,
"How would you like to tangle with this Tiger Man?"
"Just let me in him, that's all. You'd see."
"You may have your wish, Robbie. According to reports, he's been seen in this neighbourhood."
But this Paul walks off and Robbie in his disguise looks around saying, "Huh? A slow dissolve."
Presently.
Yep, Robot Man and Robbie have ditched their outer gear and are now in their robot forms, walking along what looks like a cobbled street. Robot Man is saying,
"Pretty dark now. We'll roam around without our disguises, Robbie."
"Gosh, this is kind of scary," says Robbie. And then in the next panel, we hear a massive grrr, to which Robbie, we can see him shaking with fear, says, "Ooh, what's that?"
"The roar of the Tiger Man, maybe. Come on!
The next panel, we're inside a very well-appointed house. There's a dinner party being interrupted. There's a large man with a moustache, a couple of ladies, probably his family in there, think about it. There's an older woman with white hair, a younger lady with blonde hair and some bows, a couple of hoods in suits, big hats and cigars and guns all over the place. Robot Man and Robbie peek in the door of this living room as the main goon with a hat points his gun at the man whose house it is, presumably, saying,
Anyone make a move and the cat'll chew 'em to pieces.
and he indicates with his thumb, and we see, in the bottom right-hand corner, the silhouette of a figure with sharp talons and ferocious teeth. Obviously, he's the Tiger Man. The older lady says, Please take our jewels and money, but don't hurt us. Robot Man enters the room properly, the next panel, punching out one of the goons, saying,
Don't worry, madam, they won't hurt anybody.
Robot Man, says the guy as he goes flying backwards, but then there's a massive grrr as Tiger Man steps into the light and we see him. Good grief, he looks ferocious. Robot Man says to him,
Don't do that, chum, you might scare somebody.
and then Robot Man reaches forward, grabs one of Tiger Man's talons, saying,
Mind if I clip these overgrown fingernails?
Tiger Man yelps with a yay, and then Robot Man punches him with a right hook. We then see Robbie grabbing at the heels of one of the goons, saying, Talking of chewing people up, how do you like this?
Yeah!
Screams the bad guy, and then Tiger Man can be seen rushing off, saying, Time to beat it, but this necklace looks too good to pass up. And he uses his tail to grab the necklace from around the neck of the older lady who was at the dinner.
Unexpectedly, Tiger Man trips and falls on Robbie.
Yep, Tiger Man exclaims, Yow! And Robbie exclaims, Oh!
Robbie, are you hurt?
Says Robot Man, leaning down towards his pal.
Robot Man, I'm dying. Nobody can have a tiger fall on him and live.
This actually looks quite sad, to be honest. Robbie looks like he's crying. He's saying,
Farewell, world. I have tried to be a good dog.
Robbie, you sound more like a spoiled ham than a dying dog. So cut the deathbed scene, Robbie. Just take a look at these claws I removed from the Tiger Man.
Yep, and Robbie looks up and sees that Robot Man is indeed holding what looks like the Tiger Man's talons in his hands, and Robbie exclaims,
Iron!
Robot Man turns to the dinner party people, saying,
And yes, they're artificial. And did you notice how he coiled that tail around a man's neck? I'll bet there was a spring in it.
A phony!
exclaims Robbie. The dinner host says, Can you imagine? We all believed he was really half man, half tiger.
He's just a clever crook who scares his victims half to death to make robbery easier. Let's go, Robbie.
Final panel, page 4, is Robot Man and Robbie sprinting along the street as Robot Man says,
This way.
Huh? How do you know? Neither of us saw which way you went.
Because of these tire tracks. They weren't here a few minutes ago, and they must have come from the getaway car, which I noticed parked outside the house.
A getaway car? Huh, some tiger he turned out to be using a car for a getaway. What a phony!
The next panel, we've obviously made our way out of the city. This is beautifully lit. Obviously the sun's coming up. Some interesting cloud situations going on. We can see the silhouettes of a couple of bad guys standing next to a car. It looks like they're running up towards some kind of valley, but helpfully Robot Man will clarify what's going on. As they approach, Robbie yells,
There they are!
That's the hill that's being cleared away to make room for the new highway.
We see Robot Man and Robbie rushing up towards the Tiger Man and his hatted goons. Robbie saying,
Come on, we've got to clean up these frauds.
Silhouetted Tiger Man says at this point, Looking for a clean-up, are you? Maybe this will do the job for you. And he's suddenly got hold of a hose, which he opens, spraying Robot Man and Robbie with water.
Gasp.
Robot Man exclaims,
A high-pressure hose for cutting down the hill hydraulically.
The next panel is incredibly dynamic. We're looking up to the top of the hill where Tiger Man is still spraying the hose with Robot Man and Robbie caught in the blast and falling down towards us. Oh my goodness, Tiger Man yells, Kinda late to figure things out, Robot Man. Happy landing. Robbie is whining in the next panel. Yay! But thankfully, Robot Man reassures him, saying,
Easy, Robbie. That tree should break our fall.
They're in silhouette in the first panel of page 6. They've grabbed hold of a branch in the hillside. However, with a crack, the branch comes loose. Robbie says,
Ow! Our weight was too much for it.
It may still break our fall. This way.
With that, Robot Man angles the tree, branch, whatever you want to call it, so that it takes the impact as they hit the ground. To which Robbie says,
Quick thinking, Robot Man. It's just like landing on a pillow.
Robot Man and Robbie look back up to the top of the hillside when we see the two goons celebrating. One of them's laughing and he says,
Guess that finished them, boss.
to which Robot Man says,
Sorry to disappoint you, rat, but this will finish you.
and with that he hurls the tree up into the air and it strikes Tiger Man and his two goons, the branches trapping them, holding them. The next panel's tremendous as Robot Man is holding the tree with Tiger Man and the two goons still clinging onto the branches. Robot Man lifts it down towards him, saying,
Isn't it nice of them, Robbie, to come right to us?
Very nice. But how about unmasking that Tiger Man? I want to see what he really looks like.
Robot Man takes the mask off, the very detailed, scary, impactful, immaculately crafted tiger mask, to reveal a very insignificant, brown-haired, wide-eyed little guy. Robbie says,
Why, he wouldn't scare a baby. No wonder he had to use a fierce-looking get-up.
Well, we won't make him give up his disguise entirely. Just a little change, eh, Robbie? From tiger stripes to convict stripes.
and a small caption reads,
The end.
Is that the quickest we've ever got through a story ever?
That was fantastic.
It was joyous, like visceral and speedy, and like, the contrast in, I sound like a fancy Tiger Man. Tiger Man looks amazing. He's really muscly and buff, and the sort of contrast between him and the slightly Looney Tunes approach to Robot Man and Robbie is very stark. It's very effective.
Yeah, the cartooning in this is fantastic, and it is cartooning because Looney Tunes is a very good way to put it, because especially Robbie's features.
Yes.
And yeah, Robot Man is very expressive in this, very different from the All-Star Squadron Robot Man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's a much more sort of human face rather than the sort of like, the red eyes and all that we're used to. Page 6 of panel 4, it just looks like any kind of rather bland looking human face that's just been spray painted silver.
Yeah, very true, very true. But yes, a lot of fun. It makes me just sad that Robot Man didn't get an archive in the DC Archive projects.
I know.
That'd have been great.
I would have bought anything Golden Age. I don't think I did. I buy Golden Age Hawkman though. I say that.
Surely you did.
No, I didn't.
No?
No, I don't have any Hawkman archive unless it's under Golden Age. Is it? No, no.
Oh dear. Oh well.
But never. But
eBay it is now.
I know, but I mean, I've always sort of said, like, there's so much waiting, like, a Johnny Quick Omniboo or a Hourman Omniboo. I mean, they got slightly on the way from the JSA All-Stars archive, but you're right, a Robot Man collection would be
joyous.
That's the only word for it. That was great. It didn't hang about. It probably is the shortest and quickest we've ever told a story since we started. So if we have nothing else to add, we should probably move on to the next story.
Let's do so.
Awesome. And our second story is from issue 34 of Strange Adventures, published on the 29th of May, 1953. That's 39 years to the day prior to when we recorded the final elements of our college video project at Weed Care College Media Studies course in that year. Peter's never seen my college video project, have you, Peter?
No,
I love you dearly, mate, but you never will. Right, Peter's going to tell us about the cover to this one.
We've got the Strange Adventures logo at the top, DC, Superman, National Comics in both corners at the top.
Oh, that's interesting.
10 cents, of course. And a caption at the top says,
Here is the gateway to other worlds, weird wonders.
Now, the main image in the cover, we have 2 glass doors. Behind one of them is a lady with a cape, kind of semi-futuristic looking costume, retro-futuristic. I'd say there's like an image of Saturn on her very short dress. She appears to be holding some kind of camera device as well. Big blue cape flowing behind her. And behind the door, beside her, we can see the image of, well, it's a Tiger Man. Basically a tiger in the form of a man. And he is also wearing a cape. He's got a flowing red cape, and he's got his hand up against the glass. Now, watching this from outside is Captain Comets and a bald man in a kind of a purple retro-futuristic science tunic.
Yes, very loose baggy trousers.
Dirty shirt, pulling hair and eating dirt.
Obviously, he dresses for comfort.
And he's saying to Captain Comets,
One of these doors leads to life, the other to death. Choose, Captain Comet, the lady or the Tiger Man. Gosh, the horns of a dilemma. Peter, this is the first story we've done with Captain Comet, am I right?
Oh, yes, it is.
Yes, I know you're a big fan. When did you first encounter the character?
In one of the earliest DC comics that I remember reading, and that's Secret Society of Supervillains number 5.
Wow.
Which one of my pals had, and basically came round to the house one day with a stack of comics. As well as that, it's also got Amazing Spider-Man number 100 from him. Yeah.
Wow. Do you still have those?
I think they were his copies that I had for a while, and then I read them. But obviously, I've got both of them now.
Right, okay.
But that was my first introduction to Captain Comet. And the weird thing is, we'll talk about it when we do Secret Society, is issue 5 was actually the climax of a 5-issue story.
Yes. Yes, as the crow flies, we're not too far away from Secret Society of Supervillains. So either listeners get hold of those hardcover collections or start picking up those back issues now if you want to read along.
Mm-hmm.
When did I first encounter Captain Comet? I'm not sure. I've got a feeling it might have been in run about 1993 when I was collecting Secret Society of Supervillains.
Okay.
But I think before then, my friend Scott, who I've mentioned in the past, I'm sure, he might have been reading the acronym Legion by that point, and I know that he was involved with that.
Uh-huh.
The first one I'm definitely sure of is Secret Society, because there's that cover when he's sort of running towards Reverse Flash and Blockbuster and Star Sapphire as they're sort of making an escape through a thingy, to use a technical term.
I see.
I think it's that one.
Okay.
He's someone at DC Direct never made an action figure of, which annoys me.
Gasp.
Intensely. But anyway, right, so we shall start the proceedings properly. Establishing panel for the story. We're kind of behind the Tiger Man in the glass chamber, looking out at Captain Comet and the Bald Scientist Man. The Bald Scientist Man's gear appears to be white from this point of view, but Captain Comet is looking at the Tiger Man and he's saying,
There must be some way I can figure out which door leads to life and which to death, but I only have 5 seconds to decide.
and we get a big long caption underneath.
Life is a series of choices. Each of us must use his judgment, must make a choice, usually in minor trivial problems, dozens of times a day. But only Captain Comet, the amazing man of destiny, could possibly find himself in the extraordinary situation of a man forced to choose between opening 2 doors, one leading to life and the other to death, with no way of determining which was which.
And we get the title for this story, which is
The Lady or the Tiger Man.
We get into the story proper with another establishing caption.
One morning, as Adam Blake, alias Captain Comet, encounters his friend Professor Zacro in front of the Midwest City Public Library.
Adam looks very smart in a sort of orangey brown coloured suit. Professor Zacro looks dapper as all heck in his black suit and big black fedora. Looks like a nice place to live, quite frankly. Professor, approaching Adam, says, Adam, where have you been? I haven't seen you for days.
I've just come back from a trip, Professor. It would take too long to tell you about it now.
Caption for the next panel.
Due at his information clock desk in the library, Adam has to hurry to avoid being late.
Yes, he continues, saying,
But I can see you're burning up with curiosity, so I'll project the whole story to you by mental telepathy. That will only take a few seconds.
what other kind of telepathy is there? Right, keep a straight face, David. So what we see here is, as the professor looks at Adam dead in the eye, Adam seems to project a little wave of golden energy, which runs from his eyes and drifts towards the professor. And must be said in this panel, Adam looks an awful lot like Chris Evans, who plays Captain America, to my eye. Adam then starts to narrate what's going on, and his opening gambit, it must be said, feels like the opening line of a song, as he thinks.
I was cruising through space in my Cometeer.
We arrive at the top of page 2, and going forward, virtually all the captions are narrated by Captain Comet. First one goes like this.
As Captain Comet, of course, in an area of the galaxy I'd never explored before.
The Cometeer is a long, pointy, very slick-looking space rocket. Hurtling through the void, you can see lots of pink clouds out in space, but there's a planet very close to us, and Captain Comet thinks,
A tiny green world ahead. Looks like it might be inhabited.
we get another caption.
Editor's note, green. The colour of chlorophyll is often the sign of life on a planet.
That's what I found.
But as I steered my ship toward the planet, an extraordinary thing happened.
Yep, another shot of the Cometeer in space, and Adam is saying,
Great stars! I've moved 10 light years away from that planet. Some mental force seemed to grip me and send me careening off into space. A force that came from that planet.
we return to his narration.
I turned back at once. The strange occurrence made me more determined than ever to land on that green world.
We're beside Captain Comet in the cockpit of the Cometeer at this point. We can see him looking out into space, and it looks so there's a wave of sound drifting up from the planet, and there are words which read, Change your course, go away, fast, Captain Comet says.
There's that telepathic command again. But now I'm ready for it. It won't take control of me this time. Minutes later, still resisting the mysterious and powerful mind, I landed on the planet.
Yep, you can see that the Cometeer has wheels. That's useful. Captain Comet's standing at the front of the vessel, and he can see in front of him.
There's a city. This place is not only inhabited, it has an advanced civilization.
Yes, very fancy looking city. Lots of tall buildings with flags on top of them and things. And the voice is still drifting towards Captain Comet, and it says, Turn back!
As I entered the city, I was at once struck by an odd expression on the human faces I saw there.
Yes, this is beautifully rendered by Murphy Anderson. We can see a man in the foreground of the panel who's a weird sort of headdress and a sort of cloak with a big sort of bow. A couple of people in the background. There's a lady walking in front with a plunging neckline dress with a high collar and a little hat, big fancy armbands. They're all walking around, look fairly serene, it must be said. Captain Comet looks at them all and he's thinking,
They look as if they're in a kind of a trance. I'll penetrate their thoughts. Perhaps I can discover what's wrong with them.
There's one chap walking past in a sort of black vest and yellow t-shirt.
I picked out a passerby and telepathically probed his thoughts.
And we see that the wave of sound that seemed to be approaching Captain Comet earlier on seems to be drifting into this guy's head. And it can be heard saying, now cross the street, go straight home. And as Captain Comet picks up on this telepathically, he says,
Eh? They don't have a will of their own. They're slaves of a mind dictator.
Slaves of the mind dictator, of course, supposedly the Montrose Avenue somewhere. I'm not going to turn around and read the poster.
Slaves of the mind dictator was episode 5 of the Keys of Marinus.
Hang on, Sentence of Death, episode 6. So it's either the Screaming Jungle or no, it wouldn't be Screaming Jungle. I can't remember. Anyway, we arrive then at the top of page 3. And Captain Comet's narration continues.
Grimly curious now, I determined to find out more about the strange mental ruler of this world.
Captain Comet's looking up at one particular building. We can see the little sound wave thing coming from it as he says,
The thought commands all seem to be coming from the centre of the city, from that castle-like building over there. Then as I pressed on, the commands directed at me altered abruptly.
Yes, we see Captain Comet approaching the castle, and the little voice thing drifting out is saying, Come to the castle, you must obey.
That's odd. The mental commands have been reversed. They're now pulling me toward it.
His narration continues.
The castle was surrounded by a moat of bubbling molten metal, impossible to cross.
Yeah, we can see it's bubbling in pink. The castle looks very much like any kind of fairy tale Earth castle. Captain Comet in his red spacesuit is approaching, and he's saying to himself,
Is the mind dictator trying to destroy me by pulling me into that superheated liquid metal? I must be on my guard not to go a step further.
Yes, and we can see the voice is now saying, Keep advancing toward me.
Suddenly a narrow bridge slid noiselessly across the moat, as if to meet me.
Yes, and that's what we see happening. There's a little portcullis opening and a wooden bridge sliding out across the bubbling metal, and the voice instruction can be heard saying, Walk across the bridge.
This could be a trap, but I'll risk it to see what's inside that castle. I crossed safely. Huge doors swung open before me, and a moment later...
Yes, Captain Comet's in a large chamber. There's a bald man, wide eyes, in a white tunic and loose-fitting trousers, so he's obviously just wearing his purple outfit on the cover, sat on a throne at the top of a flight of stairs. Captain Comet greets him and says,
The mind dictator!
Approach, Captain Comet!
So he knew me. I wasn't too surprised, after the exhibition he had displayed of his extraordinary brain power.
Yes, the wide-eyed mind dictator addressing Captain Comet, the final panel of page 3, saying, I am Esclon, the ruler of this world. You were warned not to land here, Captain Comet, but you chose to disobey me. Therefore, hear your fate.
I was prepared for anything except what happened next.
Esclon then reaches forward and pulls on a thick red rope and says, You shall have a chance, an even chance, to leave here unharmed. Observe as I draw this curtain. There are 2 glass doors.
Behind one door was a beautiful girl. Behind the other, a baleful-looking tiger man.
Yes, as described, the girl's blonde, with a sort of brown, very short tunic, dress, green cape. The tiger man has sort of black underpants on, thankfully, and a purple cape. He doesn't look too happy, it must be said. Esclon and Captain Comet move closer to the glass doors, with Esclon saying, You must go through one of those doors, Captain Comet. One door leads to life, the other to death. Choose. You have exactly 30 seconds to decide.
Esclon anticipated the question that arose in my mind even before I could say it aloud.
What if you refuse? Ha ha! You won't. Listen. I am in absolute mental control of every man and woman on this planet. Do what I say, or in a twinkling I will destroy every one of them.
I had no doubt that Esclon could and would carry out his threat if I refused to play his weird game.
And we see Captain Comet contemplating the 2 door handles and thinking,
I can't be responsible for the death of the people here. I've got to make a choice.
Esclon watches him with his arms folded and says, 10 seconds left.
In the emergency, I called upon every ounce of my futuristic mental power.
Yes, we see Captain Comet looking right at us, actually, in the next panel. We can see the tiger man and the lady trapped inside the glass doors looking out at him. Tigerman looks especially panicked. Captain Comet is thinking,
There must be some way I can figure out which is the door to life. Wait, I'll blank my mind and see if I can't detect telepathically which door Escalon wants me to choose. Faintly, despite the mind dictator's effort to control his thoughts, I received his mental urge to open the door to the girl. Therefore...
And, reaching for one of the handles, Captain Comet thinks,
I'll open this door to the Tiger Man.
With that he does. The Tigerman steps forward, saying, Rawr! You must die!
The Tiger Man flew at me. I hardly timed to wonder whether I had made the right or the wrong choice.
Yes, and we see Captain Comet falling back, his gun falling from his holster, as Escalon looks on and the Tigerman grabs at the Captain. The Captain falls back thinking,
The strength of this creature is fantastic.
His narration for panel 2, page 5.
His first rush knocked me off my feet and bounced my ray weapon out of its holster and across the floor.
Yes, we see the gun lying some distance away as the Tigerman roars at him. Captain Comet looks towards his gun thinking,
My ray gun! I've got to fight back with my bare hands! I leapt to my feet, my reflexes working at super speed with my life at stake.
with a crack and the right uppercut, Tigerman's head goes flying backwards.
The blow, instead of hurting the Tiger Man, seemed only to arouse him to greater fury.
Tigerman retaliates with a sock. He punches Captain Comet in the jaw as Captain Comet thinks,
How long can I withstand the savage fury of his blows? Using the momentum of my foe's rush, I tossed him over my head by an old wrestling trick.
Yep, very dynamic panel. Captain Comet putting a foot into the Tigerman's stomach and flipping him over as he thinks.
He seems as tireless as I am, but sooner or later one of us will weaken. Then, as we both scrambled to our feet, I saw that Escalon had my ray gun and was levelling it.
Yes, as Captain Comet and the Tigerman stand in silhouette, we see Escalon dramatically lit, pointing the gun at the Captain and Tigerman. Captain Comet is thinking,
He's about to shoot, but which of us is he aiming that weapon at? I can't be sure. Incredibly, Escalon made his choice. Taking careful aim, he shot the Tiger Man dead.
Oh no, yes, the Tigerman's down on the ground. Captain Comet proclaims,
You killed him, Escalon.
The Tiger Man was the real mind dictator of our world, Captain Comet. He had me and all of us in his power. But for a moment, during his fight with you, he relaxed his mental control. It was then that I had my chance to free our people. Gosh, didn't see that coming. Captain Comet's narration for the next panel.
If I'd chosen the other door, Escalon explained, I would have blown up myself and the girl. Carefully, he detached the bomb concealed in the box the girl had been holding.
Yes, we see that the girl has now stepped out of her glass cabinet, and Escalon is working on the box, and he says, This is Rana, my sister, Captain Comet. And the new arrival says, You saved my life, and by coming here, you saved our world, Captain Comet.
Later, as I prepared to leave the green planet, its reawakened and happy populace gave me a grand send-off.
Yes, we can see lots of people assembled as Captain Comet and Escalon stand beside the Cometeer, Escalon and the Captain shaking hands. Escalon says, We hope you will visit us again someday, Captain Comet.
That's a promise, Escalon.
And he thinks,
Strange, the one person I was sure would be here to bid me farewell isn't here.
There's a slow dissolve. His narration continues.
Soon after, I took off, a bit disappointed and puzzled, until a noise behind me caused me to turn.
Yes, the Captain turns indeed and sees a familiar face. He exclaims,
Rana!
And the blonde girl is there in the Cometeer, and she says, I want to visit your Earth, Captain Comet, to learn things that will help my people. I was afraid you'd refuse if I asked you to take me with you.
So she stowed away in the Cometeer. Her sincerity persuaded me to bring her to Earth.
And Captain Comet's narration concludes. We're back with the Professor and Adam as they're about to make their way into the library. The Professor is saying, That is a fantastic tale, Adam. Telling it visually took only about 3 seconds. I can hardly believe it.
I think you believe it now, Professor.
And then in the final panel of the story, we see standing, holding a couple of books in her arm and wearing much more Earth-like normal clothes, a blue suit jacket and a red polo neck. Adam introduces,
Professor Zakro, meet our new library assistant, Rana.
I'm happy to meet any friend of Adam Blake, Professor, says Rana with a smile. And as the Professor looks delighted with the new arrival, a small caption tells us we have reached
The end.
Captain Comet!
Not the most impactful of Tiger Men, it must be said, compared to the other ones so far.
No.
Beautiful artwork, though.
Yes, stunning.
Given that Pyramids of Mars, as we record, was just repeated in BBC 4 last week, it was interesting, this sort of dilemma of, who's going to give life, who's going to bring death,
Yes,
He was sort of influenced towards opening the one that wouldn't sort of blow them up. That's what I was sort of reminded of as we read it. Very to the point. I mean, I take it, I'm guessing that the Tiger Man must have invaded. He must be from elsewhere.
Yeah.
There's no indication that he was indigenous.
No. But certainly he doesn't resemble anyone we've seen on that planet. So, yeah, it's a very Ming the Merciless kind of character, isn't it?
Mm.
Very Flash Gordon-y. He could easily be ruling one of those provinces or planets.
He's a very science fictional sort of baddie. I mean, I can imagine, like, having mentioned Pyramids of Mars there, I can imagine him as a very modern Doctor Who type villain.
Yeah.
A nice prosthetic and CGI enhancement to sort of show off the mask.
Yep.
No, that was interesting. Good to have Captain Comet making his debut. I like the fight. It's very dramatic. You can read it without the narration and it's very clear what's going on. I think the narration kind of slows some aspects of it down, to be honest. But it's
true.
Was not expecting Escalon to turn out not to be the baddie, as it were, Jinx. Yeah. That was pretty cool. Yeah, all very enjoyable.
There's one aspect of this I really liked, and that's the fact we got to see Captain Comet's gun, because the whole Secret Society supervillains run, it was never used once.
Really?
Yes.
He's still got the holster though, hasn't he?
Yes.
That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. So they're quite happy to have the losers and Sergeant Rock blowing people away, but they didn't want the outer space hero fighting the desperate villains of so many Earths to actually shoot them.
As far as I remember, he doesn't use it a single time.
We'll have to watch out for that then, listeners, won't we, when we get to the Seven Soldiers of Victory. Not the Seven Soldiers of Victory, the Secret Society of Supervillains.
The other SSV.
Yes, the other ones. Anyway, on that bombshell.
Let's move on to our next Tiger Man. And we move on to Batman number 93 for our next story.
Yep, published on the 7th of June, 1955, a mere 11 days before my mum and Paul McCartney's 13th birthday. Batman 93, 3 stories in this issue. We are reading the third one, and thankfully, the cover is relevant, so Peter can tell you all about it.
The usual stuff at the top, Batman logo, DC bullets, approved by Comics Code. We are in a prehistoric landscape. There appears to be a woolly mammoth in the background, charging forward, flying through the air, being propelled by some sort of makeshift tree catapult. We have the figures of Batman, who seems to be holding a blade of some kind, Robin, and a caveman-esque figure wearing like a tiger skin with a tiger head.
Gosh.
My goodness. And the banner on the corner says, featuring the Caveman Batman.
Yes, listeners, this story was reprinted in 80-page giant issue 12 in 1965. If you happen to have that to hand and want to read along, it might be easier than reading from Batman 93. Obviously, Peter and I are reading from our pristine copies, near mint minus, of Batman 93.
There we are,
We flick through the other stories, which are called Journey to the Top of the World and Batman Babysitter. That's asking for trouble, isn't it? Our opening 2/3 of the page splash image has the Batman with Robin, the Boy Wonder logo. It's a very prehistoric landscape with volcanoes and stuff going on, and in the foreground we see Robin looking on as Peter said, a sort of caveman style figure wearing animal skins and a tiger head almost as a mask, with a couple of woolly mammoths stampeding towards him, and Batman swinging on a line and saying,
"It's Tiger Man, the Batman of this time. We've got to save him."
And a glorious big long caption reads,
"From out of the prehistoric ages, when cavemen and mighty mammoths lived, there comes to Gotham City a relic of strange mystery. And when those dynamic detectives, Batman and Robin, go back in time to solve that mystery, their comrade in struggle turns out to be that Stone Age crime crusher who could truly be called the Caveman Batman."
Gosh. Into the story properly then.
In a far distant cave, Dr. William Sayer of Gotham City makes an astounding archaeological discovery.
Yes, we see Dr. Sayer, older chap, neat moustache, goatee beard, probably played by Peter Cushing in the film. He's shining a light in a deep dark cave that he's burrowed into, and he's thinking, a rock painting done by cavemen. But what it shows is amazing. I must take this to Gotham City. It may be the most important historical discovery yet.
Soon at the Gotham Museum, a cave painting thousands of years old stirs a present-day controversy.
Yes, we get a good look at the cave painting. It's a big chunk of rock, and painted on it is an image of what looks like a Tyrannosaurus Rex chasing a couple of people. One bunch of scientist-type chaps are standing around. There's one man with white hair and a neat moustache looking very surprised. Another chap with white hair tapping his chin and saying thoughtfully, "It seems genuine, but I can't believe it." There's a guy with Captain Marvel-style eyes and ginger hair in the background, staring at it. And in the foreground, there's a guy in a brown suit, thinning white hair and glasses. We don't like him, by the way, listeners, this guy. We're not going to like this guy. And he's saying,
"It's a clever fake. Dr. Sayer thought he could make himself a great reputation, but he won't get away with it."
and a caption reads,
and this scientific controversy is destined to hurl Batman and Robin into an incredible adventure. For rich playboy Bruce Wayne, secretly Batman, is also a trustee of the museum.
Yep, the man in the brown suit and the glasses and the receding hairline turns, because we see Dr. Sayre and Bruce Wayne are also there. Man in the brown suit continues, pointing at them accusingly, saying,
The beast in that painting, the Tyrannosaurus, died out ages before the caveman lived. The painting is a hoax, and Dr. Sayre should be discharged from the museum.
Dr. Sayre looks wide-eyed and surprised and says, But that's just the way I found it. There must be some explanation. There's another chap who looks very much like crossing my dad and Jimmy Stewart. He's not too impressed either, and he says, There's only one explanation, Dr. Sayre. Forgery. Dr. Sayre, wide-eyed and scared now, says, No one believes me. My scientific reputation is ruined. I'll never be able to prove that painting genuine.
Later at home, as Bruce discusses the matter with his young ward, Dick Grayson.
Yep, see Dick and Bruce. Dick saying, It must be a fake, Bruce. Dinosaurs did die out millions of years before man.
Yes, but I've been friendly with Dr. Sayre for years, and I know he's honest. Yet there's only one way to prove it.
You mean have Professor Carter Nichols send us back in time?
Exactly. If Dr. Sayre is innocent, we must restore his good name, and the key to the truth lies in the caveman era.
A slow dissolve.
So again, Bruce and Dick seek the aid of their old friend Professor Nichols, whose scientific genius has mastered time.
The first appearance of Professor Nichols on the podcast, I feel sure.
Yes, it is indeed.
Excellent.
Mhm.
I'm delighted that
At
we
last.
found this tenuous legacy episode to do, because it means we get to do Professor Nichols. We see Bruce and Dick sat in the big chair under the sort of machine, which is the globe, with a couple of nozzles pointing out of it. And we see Professor Nichols in the background activating his machine, and he's saying, Back through the time barrier you'll go. Back to the Stone Age.
A moment of darkness, a strange sense of falling, and then...
Yes, we see that Bruce and Dick are now standing amidst a weird desert prehistoric landscape. There's some raised plateau type structures. There's obviously an active volcano going off in the background. And Dick is saying, This is the Stone Age, all right, but where's the cave in which Dr. Sayre found the painting?
I memorized his directions. That one must be it. We'll switch to our costumes and give it the once-over.
Yes, we see Bruce pointing in the general direction of somewhere else. The caption for the final panel of page 2.
Donning a colourful garb, the two friends assume their other identities. The identities of Batman and Robin.
And they look iconic as all heck. Absolutely fantastic. The caption at the top of page 3 then reads...
But upon inspecting the cave...
Yep, we see them inside the cave, casting long shadows, looking pretty damn cool. Robin says, There's no rock painting here at all.
Yet this must be the cave, though it doesn't seem exactly as Dr. Sayre described it. I don't understand this at all.
They've moved outside the cave. Robin says, Part of the roof may have fallen in later, but that still doesn't explain a Tyrannosaurus.
No, but there are caveman villages along this valley. Maybe they know something about that mysterious beast. Into the prehistoric valley go the caped crime crushers from the 20th century as an ancient menace threatens.
Yes, Robin points out and notices, yelling, Look out, Batman! A tiger!
A saber-toothed tiger, 3 times as big as those of our own days. We can't outrun it. Quick, Robin, your rope!
Yes, we see the tiger's head poking out of a bush and grinning at them. Frankly, it's terrifying.
But an even greater surprise awaits them as they lasso the tiger.
Yes, the rope has pulled the tiger out of the bush, and, well, Robin observes that it's not a tiger when he says, Why, it's a man dressed in a tiger skin. And the new arrival replies, You have trapped me, but look back there. Unless we run, we will all die. And he gesticulates, and we see, well, Robin helpfully once again tells us, Mammoth giant elephants! The burning grass is stampeding them this way, and we can see indeed that the grass is on fire. And there's about 3 or 4 mammoth elephants rushing towards them. Batman says,
Unless we get up the cliffs, they'll trample us flat. Hurry! But the wild stampede of monsters of an elder age thunders relentlessly to trap them.
Yep, things don't go too well. Looks of the new arrival in the tiger mask has fallen, as Robin says, He stumbled, and we're trapped against the cliff. The new arrival in the tiger mask says, And Boar, my enemy, has won. He started this stampede. This prompts Batman to say,
There's still a chance. Help me with these young trees.
Yes, we can see a couple of growths in front of them.
With only seconds to spare, the duo works swiftly.
Yep, Batman has attached ropes to the saplings and pulled them down so that they're bending with the tops of the trees down where Batman, Robin and the new rival are standing. Pulling on the ropes, Batman says,
That's it! Tie them down tight. They'll make perfect catapults. Next instant.
Yep, there's a great little insert panel of Batman using his knife to cut the ropes, holding them so that the trees flip up, sending Batman, Robin, and the new rival in the tiger mask flying into the air. The new rival in tiger mask says, Ha! This is great magic! To which Batman says,
Made it! Just in time.
Another slow dissolve.
Afterward, atop the cliff.
Yes, we can see that the tiger mask wearing fellow has taken his mask off to reveal a man with oddly shaped brown hair, thick eyebrows. He kind of looks like an Oasis fan, if you ask me. As he takes off his mask, he says, You are great warriors and magicians. You saved my life from Boar. My name is Rog.
And we're Batman and Robin, but who is Boar and why do you wear that tiger mask?
I wear it so Boar and his evil followers will not know me. I am Tiger Man, and I fight secretly against their wicked oppressions.
You said that Boar started that mammoth stampede.
A perspective shifts here. You see the three chaps in long distance in silhouette as Tiger Man points, saying, Yes, to kill me. They oppress and loot all our cave villages. That is why I became Tiger Man, to fight against them. Robin says at this point, Why, then, that makes Rog a prehistoric Batman.
Yes, and we can help him by showing him some of our own tricks. But we've a mission here too. Tiger Man, have you ever seen a picture of a beast like this?
And Batman, obviously using his bat Sharpie from his utility belt, draws a picture of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, a very detailed picture of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, it must be said, on the side of a rock near them, prompting Tiger Man to say, I've seen no picture, but I've seen the beast itself. But that's impossible, exclaims Robin.
Where, Tiger Man? We must see it too.
Rog puts back on his Tiger Man mask in the final panel of page 4 as he answers saying, The beast is in Boar's great cave. It is the terrible menace with which Boar frightens all our people.
Tomorrow we'll go to Boar's cave to look at that menace. But it's late now, and tonight we'll teach you some things you can use in the future.
We'll make him a real Stone Age Batman while we're here.
So that night, under a prehistoric moon, the 20th century lawmen join hands with a lawman of the primitive past.
Take a drink, listeners. Thank goodness there's a full moon. Tremendous. We see that Tiger Man is swinging around in a line that's been attached to the top of a tree in front of the full moon. Looks pretty cool. Batman is saying,
That rope woven of grass is strong, but you can make a stronger one of hide later on.
Why, it enables me to fly from tree to tree like a bird, exclaims Rog delightedly. In the next panel, we see that Batman is now holding up another utility belt towards Tiger Man, and he's saying,
In this belt are flint and steel for fire, earth pigments, a few simple minerals you can easily find for making smoke to hide you, or choking gas to drive away your enemies.
I will wear it always, says Tiger Man. And the next panel's amazing, because it just looks like it's a shot of his mask as he talks to Robin and Batman. You don't see his body, it just looks like they're talking to Tiger. It's great. But Tiger Man is saying, These tricks are wonderful, but the tribe still fear Boar's great monster above all else, and Boar will come to rob them tomorrow, as usual.
In that case, maybe Robin and I can fix up something that'll impress them even more than Boar's fetish.
A slow dissolve.
And in the cave that is Tiger Man's secret base, the duo makes hasty preparations.
Looks like Robin has constructed some kind of glider or some sort. He's definitely holding what looks like a pair of wings. Batman's working something similar in the foreground. We can see Tiger Man is now wearing his utility belt as he says, But what are you constructing out of those animal skins and willow sticks?
Something that will give Boar a surprise. We'll watch on the cliffs above the cave villages till he comes. With the sunrise, a Stone Age mobster and his loyal followers come on an evil mission.
The evil followers are obviously evil because they have darker furs on and they all have beards and they all look a bit rough and ready. There's a caveman in sort of orange trunks with thick white hair and a long white beard standing at the front of a cave mouth, a few people standing behind him, and he's saying,
But if you take all our food and weapons, Boar, we'll starve.
And we can see that a couple of Boar's men are grabbing spears, and Boar himself has grabbed some kind of container, presumably full of food, and Boar replies saying, Silence! If you defy me, I will turn my terrible monster loose to destroy you.
But 3 lawmen of 2 different ages are on watch and ready to act.
Yep, see Batman, Robin and Tiger Man standing on the cliff edge above where all this is taking place. Batman and Robin are both strapped into the glider wings they were building. Tiger Man is saying, You mean you're going to fly down?
With these glider wings, yes. It'll outdo Boar's phony monster, and you can follow almost as fast by your rope.
Yes, we see that Tiger Man is securing his rope to a boulder at the top of the cliff.
Abruptly,
Yep, very abrupt caption indeed. The next panel, Batman and Robin gliding down towards all the cavemen trouble underneath. As they fly down, Bats is saying,
we'll mop them up fast before they get over their amazement. Tiger Man will be with us in a moment.
One of Boar's colleagues attracts his attention and points up towards the Cape Crusaders, saying,
Boar, look, men from the sky, they fly like birds. But the crafty Boar is also wily and resourceful.
Yes, he's grabbed hold of the chief. He's got an axe raised behind him. Batman and Robin alight, and Tiger Man swings down on his rope as Boar says, Tiger Man, and you strangers, stand back or I will kill the chief. To which Tiger Man says, that must not happen. Old Chief Wara is the father of his tribe. Robin is moving forward at this point, but Batman arrests him, saying,
Hold it, Robin.
And then we see Boar waving his axe behind the chief, saying, Now, unless one of you strangers comes with me and shows me how to fly like a bird, old Wara dies. Robin, not behaving at all, still moving forward, says, All right, I'll go. We can't let anything happen to the old chief.
No, Robin, wait!
Exclaims Batman, the caption of the next panel.
But the boy wonder has moved too swiftly for Batman to stop him.
You see that Boar now has his hands on Robin's shoulder, looking very happy, but Robin isn't feared. He's smiling and he's saying, Don't worry, Batman. I'll stall this big lug for a while. Boar seems to move off. Tiger Man puts a hand on Batman's shoulder, saying, Boar is taking him to his great cave. He'll harm the boy unless he teaches him to fly.
And we can't follow him openly because that would endanger Robin.
There's a pause, and as we see that Boar and his men moving off, Batman looks up at the surrounding geography and then says,
But we can follow along the cliff top without their seeing us.
That still does us no good, for there is no way of getting entrance into Boar's guarded cave. A slow dissolve takes us to the top of page 7.
And sure enough, high above the criminal's cave,
We can see Batman and Tiger Man looking down. There's a fire at the front of the cave, a couple of guards. Tiger Man says, See? We can't get in without Boar's guards observing us. They'd give the alarm.
That fire. There's your chance to use your new utility belt, Tiger Man. Listen. Next moment.
We can see that the fire is now burning a very odd red colour. There's lots more smoke. Tiger Man turns to Bats and says, I dropped the smoke-making mineral into their fire as you told me, Batman.
And the smoke will keep them from seeing us enter.
Batman hands something to Tiger Man, and we can see that he's calling out a line. He continues,
Tie this cloth over your face and follow me down the rope.
That's a leading offer, isn't it, listeners? Caption for the next panel.
Hidden by swirling smoke, two stealthy forms entered the great cave.
See the smoke still billowing around, and Bats and Tiger Man have crept in. And we see something very, very interesting. Well, very helpfully, Batman says,
So, Boar told the truth. He does have a Tyrannosaurus. One frozen for ages in glacial ice.
Yes, says Tiger Man. It is the great threat he holds over us. But the smoke is thinning. They'll see us unless we hide in the stacks of firewood. We see the stacks of firewood in front of the frozen dinosaur. In the next panel, we can see that Robin has been tied up. Boar is haranguing him, saying, Tell me how to fly like a bird. In the background, we see Batman and Tiger Man hiding behind the stacks of wood, with Batman saying,
We'll endanger Robin if we charge. There's only one chance. Help me set fire to these big stacks of firewood.
And so,
Seconds later,
with the stacks of firewood ablaze, one of Boar's colleagues, for want of a better word, notices and yells,
Look, Boar, our store of firewood burns, and it's melting the ice around the great beast.
Someone set it afire! Quick! We must find them, says Boar. We can see Batman and Tiger Man perched on the rock high above, watching what's going on. In the next panel, they've jumped down and managed to untie Robin, who says, Batman, you freed me, but Boar will catch us all now.
Not if what I'm counting on happens. And it has! Quick! Down behind these rocks!
Yes, somehow all of the ice has melted incredibly quickly in such a way as not to extinguish the flame from the woodpile right next to the big pile of ice, and the dinosaur has been reawoken, suffering no ill effects whatsoever, and is already roaring and stamping around. One of Boar's cavemen yells,
The frozen beast! It lives!
And in the first panel of page 8, we see the dinosaur effectively chasing him out of the cave towards the live volcano in the distance. Quite a lot of live volcanoes. Maybe the dinosaur will chase them in. Robin observes all this and says, It's the very scene depicted in Dr. Sayre's rock painting. But how did it happen?
Heat has been known in the past to thaw back to life creatures long frozen in ice. I was hoping this would happen.
Goodness me. Poor dinosaur.
And so, as night falls...
Oh gosh. Poor dinosaur indeed. Batman, Tiger Man and Robin are standing. Don't laugh, Peter, it's very sad. I bet you don't even cry at the end of Gorgo when his mum rescues him. I bet you laugh at the end of The Beast of 20,000 Fathoms, you cruel creature. Listeners, can you see where this is going? The dinosaur is on the ground, mouth open, tongue lolling. It hasn't made it. Batman doesn't seem too bothered, though, because he says,
The creature could not survive long in the changed climate, but it chased Boar and his rascals out of your valley for good.
Tiger Man, taking off his mask at this point, says, This whole story will be recorded by paintings on the rock. And Robin, pointing out a panel, says, And look, Tiger Man, in case evil must be fought again, a tiger signal I contrived for you, using a tiger skin set against the volcano's glow. With it, your people can call Tiger Man again if is needed. And sure enough, someone somehow has managed to get to the top of the active volcano, which has massive plumes of smoke and flame and gas and ash pouring out the top of it, and rig something up so it projects a silhouette of a splayed tiger into the night sky. Batman says,
And now, Robin, we'd better switch identities. We'll be drawn back soon to our century.
A slow dissolve.
And back in the 20th century, Bruce and Dick soon bring an added archaeological discovery to light.
Yes, we're in the cave with Bruce Wayne, with Dr. Sayre, and the skeptical man in the brown suit. And they're pointing at a large chunk of rock, which has something drawn on it, but it's not the same one we saw earlier on. Bruce Wayne is saying,
What Dr. Sayre found was only one painting. This other was hidden when the cave roof collapsed.
Yes, we see Dr. Sayre gesturing towards the image and saying, See, it shows a Tyrannosaurus frozen in ice. That's how it survived. And then, in a complete change of mood, skeptical brown suit bespectacled man moves forward, shakes hands with Dr. Sayre, saying,
Which proves, Dr. Sayre, that your find is completely authentic.
In the foreground, a smiling Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne watch as Dick says, But we'd never have known there was another painting if we hadn't come back and heard Tiger Man say the whole story would be painted. And in the final panel of the story, Bruce and Dick look at the drawing of the dinosaur frozen in ice as Dick says, Good old Tiger Man. He was probably the world's first lawman. I'm glad we helped him.
Yes, it was men like him who started us all on the road to civilization.
And the caption reads,
The end.
Tiger signal.
So, in effect, every single superhero is a legacy character from Tiger Man, the first superhero.
You could look at it like that, yes. That's a fair assessment.
Who was the first DC superhero? It was Tiger Man. On Earth, it was Tiger Man. Yeah.
That was great fun. I'm so pleased we got to do a Professor Nichols story.
Yay! So good.
And again, I'm not pleased how much talking Tiger Man had to do. The gliders seemed like an awful lot of work for nothing, didn't they?
Yeah, well, it did give Boar a reason to kidnap Robin, giving the whole threat at the end.
Yeah, so it backfired enormously.
Yeah,
They could have just all swung down on ropes.
Yeah, it's true. But I love that Batman went to the trouble of making a utility belt for Tiger Man.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Or did he have a spare utility belt that he then customised? I think that's what it was.
It kind of looks as if it's
it looks kind
fairly
of
basic.
Yeah, it looks like it's been hand stretched in a hurry, but at the same time, it looks fairly solid and it's got the little compartments and stuff in it.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's something that he does.
Well,
Maybe when we write our DC comic, we'll have Batman unveil a spare utility belt within his utility belt.
might do, yes. Or he might have a utility belt making equipment in his utility belt.
That would be phenomenal.
Yes.
Like spare cloth and needle and thread.
Mhm.
Interesting.
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 Listeners, what do you think? Write in and let us know.
Yes, please do. That was fun. Like, dinosaurs. We haven't had the dinosaur for a long time. I mean, I feel that unintentionally hilarious sequence of two panels as, first of all, we see the dead dinosaur lying, lolling, with its tongue, and then Robin pointing at the tiger signal. I mean,
With the skin of a dead tiger stretched out.
I'm presuming, using a tiger skin set against the volcano. Oh my God, I didn't even realise that. They killed another tiger.
Yeah. Well, it's better than using a live tiger.
Well, this is true. Listeners, no animals were harmed in the making of this podcast, I can assure you.
Do you think Caveman Gordon has to climb up that volcano every time they need Tiger Man?
Probably. I wonder if that's who the chief was made to resemble with his white hair. That's what they'd have to do.
could
Summon
be.
Tiger Man, and then he's going to have to made a tiger mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have his own tiger cave? A tiger signal?
He does have a tiger cave, yeah, so let's go.
That's just ridiculous.
He'll probably have to ride a mammoth instead of the Tiger Mobile.
I mean,
Maybe he'll paint stripes on the mammoth. Actually, that would be incredible. Paint stripes on the mammoth.
Paint Stripes on the Mammoth supported the Montrose Avenue at the Reading TUC in 1997. Yes, that was enormous fun. Like, Good that we got to Professor Nichols' story.
Yes.
Good that it had dinosaurs. Good that it had cavemen who had astonishingly complicated and clever vocabularies.
Yes.
You know, we played them very much in the style of the cavemen from the first Doctor Who story, but boy, were they articulate.
Yes.
And I liked Dr. Sayer sort of getting vindicated so that the other guys had to kind of shut up and eat humble pie and apologise to him and take him seriously. That was all quite interesting.
Yes.
But I do feel sorry for the dinosaur most of all.
When I saw the Tyrannosaurus, I thought, oh, is this the secret origin of the Tyrannosaurus in the Batcave?
Oh.
But then I remembered, no, that's a mechanical one, right? It's not this story.
Interesting, but it's an obvious echo of dinosaur in a cave type situation. Yeah, that's interesting.
I think one of the Batman 100 pagers reprints all the stories.
Right.
For all the souvenirs that Batman has on display in the Batcave. Yeah.
Some brilliant stuff in the Batman 100 pages. They really picked out some good stuff for them. No, that was a lot of fun. I think I shouldn't say this before we do the world's finest one, but at this point, this is definitely my favourite that I've done so far.
Cool.
I hinted there at what we're doing next. Shall we take a quick advertisement break?
Yes, let's hear from our Transmaster device. And we're back for our final tale. It's from World's Finest, number 119,
The Secret of Tiger Man.
Yes, Kurt Swan cover. It's a beauty. It's title originally published on the 6th of June, 1961, 12 days before Paul McCartney's 19th birthday, if you want about such things. Peter's going to tell you about this lovely image.
Yes, DC, National Comics in the corner, World's Finest logo, all the stuff you would expect. It does say The Secret of Tiger Man as well on the cover. Now, there is a tank on top of a building. It's on fire!
Gosh!
Gasp. Superman is flying up to deal with it. Batman and Robin are running after some purple-clad crooks who have got bags of swag with them, and they've got purple berets, it seems to be.
Yes.
But there is a man dressed in a tiger outfit.
Listeners, there is a man dressed in a tiger outfit.
Literally. And he has a big T on his chest as well. And he's got a half tiger face. It's a bit like Batman's almost, in that the bottom part of his face is exposed.
Do you think the T stands for tiger?
Maybe I'll do. Or Tony. Terrific.
Terry, Toad. Time we got on with it.
Tsunami.
Yes.
And this Tiger Man seems to be directing the action. He's saying,
"You take care of that flaming tank, Superman. Batman and Robin will assist me in capturing those bandits."
There's a man in a suit looking on. He has a white hat with a press card sticking out of it. He's shocked at what's happening, and he's thinking,
"Great guns. Who is this character, Tiger Man, giving orders to the world's greatest crime fighters?" Worth pointing out that there's no yellow oval on Batman's chest symbol at this point. Make of that what you will. So we jump into the story properly. Caption at the top reads, "Your two favourite heroes." We get Superman and Batman with Robin the Boy Wonder in one adventure together. Another caption sets the scene.
Suddenly, out of the night, he appeared. A fourth crime fighter, costumed and masked. Who was he? Why do Superman, Batman and Robin take orders from this bungling newcomer? And how can he hope to lead Superman, Batman and Robin to victory over the cunning general of the Purple Legion? See if you can guess the incredible Secret of Tiger Man.
There's quite a lot going on in this opening splash image. We see Superman and Robin, along with the Tiger Man chap that we saw on the cover, rushing towards a weird box-like style old aeroplane. We can see a sign that reads, "We're at an exhibit of flying machines," and Batman is bringing up the rear in this little charge towards this weird box-like aeroplane, the pilot of which is thinking, "They're due for a surprise. This little job will help us find out Tiger Man's secret hold over Superman and Batman." A caption kicks off page 2.
As evening shadows lengthen in Gotham City, a sleek black limousine draws up before a museum, and 5 uniformed men step out with military precision.
Yes, they do step out with military precision. Very smart purple uniforms, brown boots, brown belts. As Peter Severing described the cover, purple berets, and they've weird face masks, which cover their arm, only leaving little white dots for eyes. And they've appeared outside this museum. There's an old-style totem pole outside, and a panicked few people in the background rushing away from these new arrivals, and one man can be heard yelling,
"Let's get out of here! The Purple Legion is striking again!"
Acting with the brisk exactness of a drill company, the 5 overcome the guards, loot the museum, and...
Yes, we see them exiting towards their big flashy car. The one in the front has a big bag of swag, kind of like Peter described in the cover. And we see, rushing in the near distance, Superman, Batman, Robin, and another guy in a kind of orange costume with red underpants over the top and a big orange cape. We can see their stripes. And this first Purple Legion member is saying,
"Lieutenant, Superman, Batman and Robin and another masked costume character are approaching on the right flank."
We hear the lieutenant's voice as he says, "Prepare for retreat, Plan B." And in the next panel, this is very interesting. One of the Purple Legion has a massive sort of like bazooka over his shoulder, and he fires it, saying,
During a pre-crime reconnaissance, we coated that tank with gasoline.
yeah, he fires a bazooka and it strikes what Peter and I as Brits would think of as one of those weird water tanks that you get on top of all buildings in America that we don't really get over here. And the bazooka sort of strikes it, and with a whoosh, it bursts into flames. The Purple Legion guy further informs us,
That'll keep Superman busy. Unless he acts fast, the whole area will go up in flames.
At that very moment,
we see that Superman and Batman and this new arrival in the tiger suit are standing underneath the flaming tank, pointing up at it. Tiger Man says, "Grab that tank at once, Superman, and fly above the Earth's atmosphere with it." To which Soup says, but there's a better way to. And he's interrupted by Tiger Man, who cuts him off, saying, "Not another word. There isn't a moment to spare. Do exactly what I say at once. Batman, Robin, and I will capture those bandits." To which Soup says, "Well, all right." And in the background we see a feverish-looking pressman scribbling away in his notepad, and he's thinking, "Great guns! Who is this character giving Batman, Robin, and Superman orders?"
like a strange living skyrocket, Superman streaks upwards.
Yeah, brilliant panel of Superman bearing the burning water tank up into the air, leaving puffs of smoke behind him. And as Soups flies into the sky, we hear Tiger Man's voice saying, "Out in space where there's no oxygen, the flames will be snuffed out at once."
Meanwhile,
Yeah, we're back outside the museum as Tiger Man, Batman and Robin are rushing towards the building, and we see a red, weird-shaped aeroplane in the sky, which seems to be generating a little wave of yellow energy, and the 5 members of the Purple Legion are drifting up towards it. Robin comments, They're floating up."
those uniforms must be magnetized, and that plane above has a huge magnet drawing them toward it. I'll have to act fast.
Says Batman.
A swift expert toss, and the bat rope snakes over the looming totem pole.
Yes, the top of the totem pole. It's almost like a bird head. It has a beak, so Batman has managed to lasso the jutting beak. And the caption for the final panel on page 3.
An instant later, trained muscles propel a lithe figure upward in a swinging arc.
Yes, Bats is swinging up towards the final member of the Purple Legion who's floating just out of his reach. And as he does this, the Cape Crusader utters,
At least we'll capture one of the gang. But suddenly,
Batman is almost interrupted because Tiger Man suddenly flies into view. A rocket flaring from his back as he says, "These jets Superman made for me are a little more efficient than your gymnastics, Batman. I'll snare that crook." However, the direction he's flying in causes some trouble for Batman, who says in the next panel,
Great Scott! Tiger Man's jet sliced my bat rope in two!
that is what's happened. Tiger Man doesn't seem to care though. He keeps flying, saying, "Don't fret. You can take care of those reporters gathering below. I'll handle this problem." Batman plummets. My goodness. But thankfully the caption for panel 3 reads,
And as the acro Batman tumbles down safely...
yes, thank goodness we see Bats turning a couple of whirls and somersaults as he lands deftly on his feet, as Tiger Man drops back down towards them, with the member of the Purple Legion grasped in his arms, saying, "My jets in reverse are more powerful than that magnetic pull. Now that Tiger Man is on the job, the Purple Legion might just as well demobilize."
Presently, when Superman returns to the scene...
Yep, Soups flies down, saying, "I could have hurled that flaming tank into the bay and stayed here to help you with those crooks. Then they wouldn't have gotten away." Tiger Man isn't having it. He says, "Quiet please, Superman. Can't you see I'm questioning this captive? And now, when did you last see the General of the Purple Legion?" Next panel we get a close-up of one of the members of the Purple Legion. He's like a really scary Michael Holt Mr. Terrific with a weird hat on. In response to Tiger Man's question, he says,
No one ever sees him. Each unit gets its orders by radio, and we get paid regularly by the Quartermaster General. One of the buttons on my uniform is a tiny radio receiver, and another a transmitter.
Suddenly...
yes, with the pressman who was watching things still looking on and still scribbling away in his pad, and with Soups, Bats, Tiger Man and Robin looking on, a voice suddenly comes from the speaker on the Purple Legion member's jacket, saying,
That will be enough, Private W. Silence now, that's an order. You will go to jail, and you will receive double pay for the period of your incarceration.
There's an immediate dissolve, and a caption says,
Some distance away...
and we're with the General, who's an overweight-looking chap, very jolly with a weird kiss curl, and I have to say, a Sergeant Pepper-style band uniform. Bright orange with yellow detailing, again, brown boots like his pals have. He's sat behind a big desk with a big, fancy-looking radio device on it. It's a lushly appointed apartment. There's a thick green carpet, some more tables, and a large sofa. And there's another guy in a similar outfit, with a weird hat on, sitting smiling at him, as the General says,
If I must say so myself, I'm a wily fox, eh, Colonel? For weeks I've outmaneuvered even Superman and Batman and Robin. There's nothing they can do to upset the master plans of General Grambly, the Napoleon of crime.
The next panel's fantastic. We're suddenly outside. We see a large truck with the words Merchants Movers. We move anything, anywhere, speeding along the road. Nice little rural scene, actually. And we realise that the General's voice is coming from inside it.
In my mobile headquarters, I'm always on the move. They can find out where I've been by tracing the wavelength on which I broadcast my coded orders, but they'll never know where I am.
We're back inside. The next panel, he's looking at a map of Gotham City and he's saying,
They'll soon learn that our assault on the museum was essentially a diversionary tactic. When Superman and Batman reached the scene, our troops struck successfully at Western Furs and Nonpareil Gems. Tomorrow, Unit 21A hits Objective 68.
Objective 68. I'm pretty sure they played King Tut's about 2 weeks ago. We have a slow dissolve and a caption reads,
Meanwhile...
We're back with the world's finest team and the press guy, the reporter, who's saying, Come on, Batman, give us a break. Who is Tiger Man and why are you and Superman taking orders from him?
Why, he's another crime fighter, and we feel sure that with his aid we can smash this elusive legion.
Tiger Man bursts into the discussion at this point, saying, Precisely. Just as the criminals have a guiding mind directing and coordinating their actions, so do Batman, Robin and Superman now. I am that guiding mind, and I will prove that I am the greatest crime fighter of all. The world's finest team and the pressman look astonished. The pressman gets a close-up in the next panel as he thinks, So, what good did he do? Superman, Batman, Robin and the police have already caught several crooks in the Legion before tonight, but it hasn't helped them capture the mysterious General.
Next day, as newspapers scream the news of Tiger Man in dark, bold headlines...
Yes, we don't see the names of the newspapers, sadly, so you'll have to think of some of your own. The headlines read, Why do Superman, Batman and Robin take orders from bungling Tiger Man?
Will newcomer help or hinder the Batman, Robin, Superman team?
And the last one reads, Who is fourth costumed crime fighter?
And the rolling headquarters of the General...
Yes, we see the General also reading from a newspaper, and we see his pal the Colonel moving things around in the weird radio receiver behind him as the General reads from the paper and says,
A fascinating development. Obviously this Tiger Man is some kind of secret hold over Superman and Batman. I must find out more about it. Contact Unit 21A at once, Colonel.
And the Colonel moves to do so. A slow dissolve.
Next day, at a famous rare gem centre...
Yes, we see a sign that seems to read Nevin's Rare Gems, and it's like this building looks like it's been mocked up to resemble a castle. And there's turrets and stuff. There's a very modern roof. And a green truck is pulled up, which has opened up the doors at the back to reveal a large cannon. It's the only word for it. A couple of members of the Purple Legion are down on the ground already, looking at the wide castle-style doors, and the member of the Purple Legion in the back of the truck is pointing at the doors and saying,
Remember, the really valuable gems are upstairs and you won't have much time after the alarm sounds. Prepare for invasion.
Moments later...
There is a massive boom as the cannon fires and the doors blown apart. One of the Purple Legion says,
We've breached the wall. Forward, men.
Minutes later, summoned by the alarm...
The world's finest team and Tiger Man arrive on a scene with Superman saying, Another Purple Legion job. We'll get this unit easily. However, Tiger Man is looking up and he says, Just a second, Superman. Look up there. And he points and we see what looks like a massive inflatable goose. Good grief, tethered to another building, and it reads, Buy Mother Goose goodies for the kiddies. That's nice, isn't it? Tiger Man points towards it. I'm pointing for the benefit of our YouTube viewers and says, I'm convinced that balloon is not here by mere coincidence. It has something to do with their getaway plan. Meld it at once with your heat vision, Superman. I'll show the General I'm wise to his tricks. To which Kal says, But, and then Tiger Man cuts him off, saying, Do you dare question my judgment? At once, Superman! Batman looks astonished at this, as Soup says, Very well, and engages his heat vision.
But a second later...
Yes, we see, indeed, as we probably imagined it would, the rubber goose, the inflatable goose, is starting to melt and drip down towards the buildings below. Superman gestures at this, saying, You were wrong. Now that sticky mess will fall on city streets and trap people in cars. Tiger Man is nonplussed, but he does say, You better remove it at once. Get it away. Far away.
Obediently, Superman speeds skyward, and...
With a whoosh, Soups takes to the air, and Tiger Man points and says, See? Superman is flying so fast that he's creating a vacuum in his wake, and air currents are pulling that balloon after him. He'll let it fall harmlessly into the sea.
Meanwhile...
Yes, we see a few members of the Purple Legion exiting the jewellery establishment. Batman and Robin running towards them with Batman saying,
They won't get far this time.
Coming up behind those, Tiger Man, who's reaching up to his shoulders, where we can see something's been attached to his costume, and he says,
Don't worry, Batman. I'll get them with these gadgets I had Superman make for me. Tigerman activates these devices, and the boxing gloves, which fly out in extended arms, as Tigerman says, "This will knock them out." Oops! The reason for the oops, with a pow and a whap, the boxing gloves have failed to hit the Purple Legion and instead have struck Robin and Batman. The first panel of page 9 with the dynamic duo down on the ground, Tigerman stepping over them. A member of the Purple Legion says,
Thanks, pal. I'll do the same for you.
with that he punches out Tigerman. Good grief.
Moments later, the top of the truck flips open, and...
With a number of whooshes,
whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
the 3 members of the Purple Gang take their exit, flying through the air, clutching their wares, and the lead one thinking,
The General thinks of everything. These automatic catapults will shoot us a distance away in moments, and then we can drop back to Earth using these chutes strapped to our backs.
gosh, yeah, that's obviously parachutes. At first I thought they were mini rocket packs. Batman, Robin, and Tigerman are all still sprawled on the ground.
And as Batman and Robin and Tigerman scramble to their feet...
Yep, brilliant, very low perspective shot as we look up at the 3 members of the Purple Legion soaring away from Nevin's purple gems as Batman points and says,
Look! All 3 crooks getting away! However, observing the scene from a nearby hiding place...
yes, we see that there's another member of the Purple Legion hiding behind a sort of installation flower bed thing, watching them and thinking,
They think all 3 of us catapulted away, but one of these figures is a dummy taking my place so that I can stay behind and spy on Tigerman.
gosh.
Shortly, when Superman returns...
Brandon Routh's movie getting a shout out. That's pretty excellent. Soups descending, alighting beside the dynamic duo, and Tigerman, and Soups is saying, You sure goofed again, Tigerman. The Mother Goose balloon had nothing to do with her getaway plan. To which Batman says,
Yes, and you were certainly no help when you knocked us out. I think we've had just about enough of your bungling. From now on, don't give us any orders.
Tigerman raises a finger, saying, Gentlemen, you forget something. I know the secret of your identities, therefore you'd better do just as I say, or else. And we see the thought bubble of the lurking Purple Legion member who thinks,
Oh boy, wait till the General hears this.
there's a slow dissolve.
And when the information is radioed to General Grambly...
Yes, we see the General holding the microphone of his tabletop radio apparatus, and he's saying,
Excellent espionage, Privateer. Report at once to Captain C. He will see that you are decorated and promoted to the rank of Sergeant.
Gosh, well done, Private R, indeed.
Next day, at an exhibit of flying machines, old and new...
Yes, to save me describing this, we'll say that we'll put this panel on the socials. It's pretty cool. There's something obviously about Wright Brothers. It looks like a couple of blimps,
Yep.
a couple of sort of stacked things. The weird box-shaped aeroplane I attempted to describe from the splash panel. We can see that there are 4 members of the Purple Legion and they're holding up the ticket kiosk for this exhibition. An alarm goes off. Whee! And a member of the Purple Legion says,
Let's work fast. That automatic alarm will have the law on us in no time.
Then, as the 4 costumed crime fighters respond to the alarm...
the world's finest team plus Tigerman come rushing up. We can see that the alarm is still going from the ticket desk, but there's also a sudden another boom in the air, another sound. This prompts Tigerman to say, That explosion! You'd better see what it is, Superman. Batman, Robin, and I will find it child's play to handle this situation.
And as the Man of Steel streaks off into the distance...
Yes, we're back with the General and the Colonel, and we hear one of his subordinates' voice coming over the radio saying,
Superman just flew off in the direction of that explosion, General.
to which the General laughs and says,
Ah! Plan proceeding according to blueprint. When Superman finds out that explosion was harmless, and just intended to draw him off this scene of action, it will be too late for him to interfere.
Gosh.
Meanwhile...
We're back at the exhibition of flying machines, and one of the Purple Legion has activated one of the machines, which has 2 giant propellers on it, which are now blowing towards Batman and Robin. This is terrific. They look amazing the way they've been rendered there as the air disturbs them, causes Batman to say,
That plane acting as a wind machine blowing us back.
We then see the box-type aeroplane that I described badly from the splash panel. And what we thought previously was a pilot must obviously be a member of the Purple Legion in disguise, because he's activated this plane, and the large box structure at the front is drawing in Tigerman, who's saying, And hidden that plane, a powerful suction machine pulling me toward it. The pilot, if you like, of this device is now saying, Ha ha! The General's plan to snatch Tigerman sure is working. It took us all last night to install these gadgets. Now I'll just fly away and deliver my prisoner to the Colonel.
Somewhat later, at General Grambly's mobile headquarters...
Yes, Tigerman is sat on a big fancy purple couch that we saw earlier. The General is haranguing him, saying,
Capturing a bumbling fool like you was easy. Now you're going to tell me the secret hold you have on Superman and Batman. Or die. Out with it. Who are they?
Tigerman seems to be adjusting his positioning on the couch here as he says, "Just a moment. First, let me tell you who I am." And in the first panel of page 12, the massive rep, he tears off his Tigerman costume, revealing as the General cries,
Superman!
"Yes, Superman," announces the Man of Steel. "We planned to get you curious enough to capture me so that we could capture you. What you thought was Superman was one of my well-trained robots. All of Tigerman's blunders were arranged so that you'd think he was an easy mark. When your spy, who I spotted with my X-ray vision, was listening in, Tigerman purposely revealed that he knew our identities because we wanted him to hear it as bait for you."
Very clever. Only there's a double twist.
And with that and a click, the General reaches forward and presses a button on his big tabletop radio set. This causes a hatchway in the wall to slide open, revealing a familiar green chunk of rock. The General gloats and says,
I've had that piece of mineral in readiness behind that lead panel ever since I started military operations, just in case you became too bothersome.
"Kryptonite," says Soups, recoiling in horror. The only substance that can harm me." He drops to the ground in the next panel, obviously suffering and sweating, and he's thinking, "I'm getting weaker and weaker." The General says,
We have met the enemy, and he is ours. Nothing can stop me now. But at that instant...
there is a massive crash. Batman and Robin appear on the scene, busting through the doors of the truck. Batman saying,
We'll have to work fast, Robin. Superman looks pretty low.
Robin swings in on a line saying, "Pardon me if I boot you instead of salute you," and kicks the Colonel with a whap, knocking his hat off. Batman punches out the General saying,
This is your Waterloo, General.
In the next panel, Batman grabs hold of the kryptonite, throws it out the back of the truck saying,
You'll be as good as new when I get rid of this, Superman. Later on, I'll dispose of it permanently.
The General rubs his head and says,
How did you find our headquarters?
Soup says, "Very simple. As soon as I arrived as Tigerman, I pressed a button on his two-way radio and Batman and Robin followed the signal it sent out. See that Robin is going through a little filing drawer in this desk. I need one of these desks with its inbuilt filing system and radio system and all that sort of stuff." The Boy Wonder exclaims, "Look at this!" He holds up a sheaf of papers and the final panel saying, "Records of all members of the Purple Legion. Not only does it tell who they are, but also where to find them." The General and the Colonel look scunnered, as we would say over here, as Soups looks down at them and says, "Start marching, General. You're demoted to prison private." And a small caption tells us we have reached
The end.
It was Superman all along.
It was Superman all along. Did you imagine it was going to be Superman all along?
No.
Me neither. I wasn't quite sure what was going on. It's always a bit underwhelming when they bring in the Superman robot
Yes. I know what
thing,
you mean.
isn't it?
It's a nice little twist, but given that stuff like Batwoman's like a semi-regular recurring character in this as well at this time, it would have been quite cool if they'd done something with Batwoman in it too.
I agree.
And maybe made her Tiger Woman, perhaps. It's a fun story. I do like a ridiculous crime boss with a uniformed gang. It's always good.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I love that sort of thing. I always wonder where do they get the initial finance to set it all up? They're
Yeah.
obviously very organised and everything.
The mobile headquarters reminds me of something. I can't remember what it's from, but there's a very similar thing in something at the back of a truck.
Knight Rider.
Yes, of course. Yes.
I only know that because Brandon did a Knight Rider retrospective a couple of years ago and it's comparatively fresh in my memory.
That's exactly what I'm thinking of, yes.
Right, cool, good.
Hey!
Jinx. I was kind of disappointed how the press reporter guy who was in it so much at the start wasn't there for the end.
Yeah, there wasn't a payoff, really.
It would have been nice to see him sort of finding out who Tigerman was and maybe getting a front page exclusive, given that we saw some headlines and stuff as well.
Yeah, it'd be cool if he was like taking a picture of them all at the end, sort of thing.
Yeah.
That'd have been cool.
Yeah.
Instead of just being investigative journalist.
Yes.
And he sells us one like story, slating them all, and then he vanishes.
No, it's a lot of fun. The Purple Legion, that sounds rude, quite frankly, if you ask me. It's a shame they weren't called the Purple Gang, because then we could have made a Jailhouse Rock joke.
Oh, well.
Not to worry. Yeah, interesting. I mean, it would have been good if they'd given us something to, what prompted Superman to take on a Tigerman identity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I did like the comment that Superman had made all his equipment. That was cool.
Yes, that was a bit of a giveaway if you look for it. I mean, I wonder if Superman enjoyed being really beastly to Batman and Robin.
Probably. He probably just enjoyed playing the part. The Silvery Superman, that's what he's all about, I mean, playing tricks on people, teaching life lessons.
The dynamic duo did a very good job of responding appropriately and
Yep.
playing along. I mean, was the whole Tiger Man thing just set up just to capture the General and the Purple Legion? Do you think that's the case?
Looks like it.
Yeah.
But it seems a bit extreme.
It's a bit vague, isn't it?
Yeah, because they're a bit low rent, let's be honest.
I do like the moving truck. I'll have to make sure that panel makes it onto the socials.
I wonder if the Tiger Man costume's on display at the Fortress of Solitude.
Ooh.
Or-
Are we going to say the same thing here?
Or given that it was ripped in half.
Well,
No?
maybe Superman repairs it with his super stitching ability, super seamstress abilities. I was just going to wonder if maybe he'd be the inspiration for another as yet unseen member of the Legion of Superheroes. Tiger Boy.
Can you imagine?
I'm imagining it right now.
This story actually reminded me a little bit of the Crimson Avenger story we did right back at the very start
Yes.
of the Silver Age Crimson Avenger, because
Yes.
that was another
Yes.
inept superhero that was joining the world's finest team and getting in the way and causing problems.
Yeah, very much. This is issue 119. The Crimson Avenger story appears in issue 131.
Ah, okay.
Published at the end of 1962.
So they kind of took the same beats for this story
Yeah.
and reused it for the Crimson Avenger.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Jinx, you may have Fanta. Listeners, we would encourage you to go back to our very, very, very early episode where we meet the Silver Age Crimson Avenger. I haven't listened to it probably since 2020. I probably have the fear if I listen to it now.
I haven't listened to it since I edited it, I think.
So yeah, gosh, yes, because we're into our 5th calendar year of releasing. Oh
My
my goodness.
Yes.
Jinx, you may have Fanta. And we're still not into 1975 at this point. Well then, who'd have thought it? Right.
That wraps up for this Tiger
That
Man.
wraps up. Yeah, so this Tiger Man pretty much. I mean, I would have liked Batman and Robin to have a little more to do. I think, and I think if I'd read the story properly beforehand, I wouldn't have given myself Tiger Man's voice to do. But not to worry, I thought Batman probably had more to do in it. But there you are.
Well,
Such
given
is
that
life.
Tiger Man was Superman, it has kind of had to both
Oh
be.
yeah, I
so
suppose.
yeah.
No, that's very fair. Good.
Yeah.
That saves me there. That saves me
There
that
we are.
embarrassment. That's not bad.
Right,
There we
onwards.
go. So listeners, before we go, there's a couple of other Tiger Men that we'd better tell you about. These are the two that kind of, I think, alerted me to the idea in the first place. And for reasons of time and for Peter's sanity, we're not doing the full stories. Originally, we talked about doing 2 Tiger Man episodes, sort of split into, obviously 1 week, but we thought, no, we can't justify that.
No.
There's a story in issue 59 of My Greatest Adventure called I Was the Burma Tiger Man, which features a chap being shot at on the cover. My Greatest Adventure 59 published in July 1961. And then there's a story from issue 90 of Tales of the Unexpected, published in June 1965, which has the cover legend, My Twin, the Tiger Man. And another one of these anthropomorphic tigers on the cover, very similar. He could be twins with the guy in the cover of My Greatest Adventure. And he's being shot at, but there's another guy in front saying, no, don't shoot him. When you hit him, you harm me. And the caption at the top reads, My Twin, the Tiger Man. So maybe if we run out of ideas, we might do these one day as flashbacks, but I doubt it. But they're worth checking out. Listeners, in my extensive library, I own a copy of a book called The Tiger Man of Burma by Argyle Saxby. So I'm going to have a look and see how it compares to the story from My Greatest Adventure, maybe update you that on a later date. To give you context, it has a little gummed in, pasted in certificate in the opening page, which reads, Kensington Baptist Sunday School, Stapleton Road, Bristol 5, awarded to Donald, I think that's Fern, for perfect attendance. Date looks like the 7th of Feb 1938.
Gasp.
And it features The Tiger Man of Burma, story which runs to 60 odd pages. Chapter titles including Vow to Vengeance, In the Power of Thazan, A Cloaked Visitor, Tiger's Claws, Coils of Death, Hot on the Track, The Tiger's Lair, The Bullet of Pan Yi. Very interesting. I wonder if this was the inspiration for all the different Tiger Man stories. It's also worth mentioning that this book has a story in it entitled Black Hawk's Revenge.
Oh, gasp. There we
So
are.
this book, obviously, if it was given as a prize in 1938, is at least from 1938 or 1937. Yeah. If this hadn't been quite a slightly spontaneous episode, I might have been able to read it and compare. Maybe I'll have time to record a drop-in and Peter can do it as a post-credits, but we'll see. So, Peter, what was your favourite of the stories then?
I liked them all. I think Robot Man was just ridiculous, fun, fast-paced, frenetic. It was good stuff.
Yep.
Captain Comet was... I'm so glad we did a Captain Comet story.
Yeah.
It's long overdue.
Mm.
Terrific fun. That was good. The Batman story was just ridiculous. And, as I said then, Tiger Man, the first superhero on Earth,
Yes.
perhaps. Yes.
Yes.
And then, of course, World's Finest with the use of the Superman robots. Great fun. They're all hugely entertaining.
Am I right in thinking Grant did something with a caveman type Bruce Wayne Batman thing? But
Yes.
with that whole Death Return of Bruce Wayne story about
Yes,
10,
he did.
12 years
Uh-huh.
ago. Right.
Because he was coming forward in time. He was sent back to prehistoric times.
Yeah, it was off the back of Final Crisis, wasn't
Yep.
it? So it's longer than 10 or 12 years ago. Gosh.
The Return of Bruce Wayne is what it's
Yes,
called.
I thought I was thinking of that.
6-issue mini.
I wonder if that was any inspiration for what Grant did. You'll have to ask him the next time you see him.
They brought out an action figure of each version of Batman from that.
Interesting.
Yeah, a long time, obviously at the time, pretty much.
Right. Oh, okay.
That was cool.
Interesting. So yes, listeners, this has been prompted by our Atlas episode last week. This has been our surprise, bonus, exciting Tiger Man Portmanteau episode. Hands up if you saw this one coming. Longer than 3 weeks ago, I didn't.
Can you believe that we've done an episode on Tiger Men and not once mentioned Mr. Talkie Tawny?
Or Catman.
Or Catman. Well, he's less of I suppose he is a Tiger Man, yeah.
We'll have to do things. There is a case for maybe doing a Catman episode.
We may do
point.
a Catman episode at some
We
point.
probably
yes.
will, to be honest, listeners.
I'll do some digging.
Yeah. Listeners, you might be surprised to know there's another Portmanteau episode in the immediate planning as well.
Yes.
Gosh, why do we do this to ourselves?
It's me as to put it all together.
I know, and I sweat every single second of it. Don't you bloomin' worry. Right, yeah, listeners, which one of the Tiger Men did you enjoy the most? Write in and let us know. How do they do that if they want to do that, Peter?
Well, you can send us an electronic mail at theearth2podcast@gmail.com. Make sure you follow us on social media because we've got loads of fantastic striped bonus material for you this week. Feline and striped. Yes, just like me. On Facebook and Instagram, we're at the Earth2 Podcast, and on Twitter, we're at podcast_Earth2, and it's the number 2 for all our socials.
Yep, check out the socials. We'll put up albums of panel highlights from each of the stories. I've managed to scrape together a few foreign reprints of some of the stories we've mentioned, so I'll stick them up too. And that'll keep us going for a few days, I think.
Good.
Yeah. As I always say, if you're feeling generous, you go to wherever it is you receive your podcasts. And if you've enjoyed this Tiger Man specific episode, give us a good review. If you enjoy our Portmanteau episodes, please let us know. If you've got any suggestions for other ones you think we could do, let us know. As I say, there's another one due along very, very soon indeed. And there will probably be a couple more within the next year. If you're feeling even more generous, you go to our coffee page and buy Peter the price of a beverage, which will make up for all the fluffs and swearing that he has to edit. But to be honest, I've not sworn too much today. I think I've only actually sworn like twice tops, so it's not been too bad. And as usual, spread the word, tell your pals. Please retweet or share or our Instagram or Facebook posts if you're enjoying it. Our usual thanks to our pal Ross, because he always shares our posts and gives us lots of support and love, and we love him dearly. I'm hoping to record with him in the next day or two because we haven't done so for a while, which means we'll have an hour of talking nonsense before we get to the point, but that's always fun. Little bit back to normal next week. See if you can guess what's happening.
On that bombshell, I've been Peter.
And I've been David. Take care. Peace out. We'll see you soon on
The Earth 2 Podcast.
Transmatter cube activated. Return coordinates set for Earth Prime.
Robot Man exclaims,
A high-pressure hose for cutting down the hill hydraulic.
cutting down the hill hydraulically supported Montrose Avenue, blah, blah, blah.